Elizabeth, this is not so much a question, but she says, what about the time and space for employee learning / engagement / well-being amidst accelerated innovation and delivery for the sake of patients? So Jeff, I think she's saying here, we're doing a lot for patients right now. We're putting a lot of new technologies in place, but what about the employees? And I think this could apply to both pharma and sites as well. Are we putting enough time into their training, their engagement, and their well-being at the same time?
Probably not. The pace of clinical development has accelerated over the last decade, largely due to the pressure, put on by investors and shareholders. What's happened with COVID is everybody is working remotely, which means they can work 24/7. And the space and the time between work and non-work has blurred. It's demonstrated people are working longer hours. It's not healthy. It's not sustainable. So, in terms of actionable things, I would strongly encourage people to block your calendar so you've got some time for yourself. I've talked to people and they block time so they can walk around the block. I know Craig walks his dogs. Or, just staying current on procedures and guidelines. Second, people must learn to say no. I mean, the work's just going to keep coming. You have to be able to say no to certain things. And, finally, in this very unprecedented time, I think people need to take care of themselves, because if you don't do it, no one else will.
True. Craig, did you want to add anything to that?
First of all, very thoughtful observations from Jeff, just about heal thyself and just self-wellness, such an important topic at this time. I think as sponsors, CROs, and so many others look to truly not go back, what that turns into is making commitments, and committing inside of an organization around change is not a trivial task. Large, complex organizations know what that means in terms of thinking about training and thinking about SOPs and thinking about culture. This isn't just a story of technology. As Debbie was mentioning earlier, so many of the tools that we're talking about, they're not new. They struggled for adoption. And so what people need now is both a culture that's friendly to this, but also the training that helps them to know how to implement in a way that isn't going to be unduly burdensome, create fear of risk and other negative attributes. And it really does come down to then, how do we bring people along through training and culture, which is not an easy task when in today's world we're all distributed. How do organizations best manage in that environment?
And Robbie asked whether direct-to-patient and decentralized trial models are the new norm. From what I'm hearing, I have to think, yes, it will be. Michelle, do you want to touch on that, though? Maybe talk about why or why not you think that might be the case?
Sure. I mean, I think it is certainly a core part of the new normal. And I say that, looking at, I think, some of the value that extends beyond the COVID era. So for example, our company is partnered with one of the largest site networks in the world, and they transitioned in partnership with us from in-person enrollment to virtual enrollment. We do together about 2,000 enrollment visits a month. And what we're seeing across therapeutic areas is that this really kind of radical improvement in access and putting it in the hands of the patient to schedule. They can do it on demand. They can do it on a specific schedule and time slot that they request. Has accelerated enrollment by a factor of 3 across therapeutic areas. And so, I think that these types of proof points is just kind of one facet of decentralized trials, really suggests that there is core value compared to a traditional methodology. I think additionally, when you look at the use of the connected devices, I don't see, that we're going to be capturing all vital signs exclusively in a clinic. I think that patients empowered at home, with this connectivity really enables us to have a better understanding, as mentioned earlier, around safety. I think also what we're finding is that telemedicine, when added to some of the more typical kind of ePro activities, we're finding increased levels of engagement over the life of the study compared to the use of that same ePro without a telemedicine check-in. So, I think that there is value in these technologies that tackle some of the core challenges in clinical trials, including access and engagement. And so I think just decentralized clinical trials and the modules and methodologies that comprise that are really going to be here for the long haul.